uh, Write or Die Show. I am your host, Randi-lee. On today's episode, we have a really interesting guest. His name is Derek Scarzella. I hope I said that right. Pretty sure I did. All right, let's get to it. So welcome, Derek. I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you, Randy. It's great to be here.
So I always start with the easiest and hardest question at the same time, because some people find this really easy to talk about themselves and some people don't. But tell us about yourself.
Oh gosh, where do I begin?
Exactly, that's why it's hard.
No, I'm a Maryland boy, born and raised in Maryland. I live in Springfield, Virginia, so I've been in and around the DMV pretty much my entire life. Both of my novels are set in the District, Maryland and Virginia. And, I've had a variety of jobs. I've been a security guard, software salesman, manufacturing rep.
Oh, wow.
Worked in my grandpa's family business until
Which was?
A flower shop. Yeah.
Okay.
Owned a flower shop for 65 years. And he was a little Catholic guy, but we specialized in Jewish weddings. So it was cherished that time of my life. And but yeah, always fascinated by entertainment, an entertainment obsessive, and wrote some books and got them published, and here we are.
Wonderful. And I'll admit I haven't had a chance to read Derek's books yet, but they are definitely on my list. And I loved when I went in my mailbox last week and I opened it up and I was like, oh, there's a package. And I know I didn't order anything. And I look and I open it up and it's the cover of your book there. I love the sleekness. It's like all black. It looks like, ooh, I want to read it. So I'm excited to get to read it. And once I do read it, I will be posting a review on my website. So everybody look out for that. But other than that, how about you tell us a little bit about what style of books that you write?
So these are crime novels. These are thrillers. And each one's quite different, which I wanted it to be that way. I like variety. I like doing new things, not necessarily repeating myself. But the first one is about, two men. One is a wannabe rapper. He wants to get in the game and start running around with gangs and whatnot. The other person is actually an MS-13 enforcer. So he's actually in the game. And it's about how their lives intertwine and, and how you need to decide what you really want to be in life, sort of thing. And the next one is called Knuckle Crack Bone. And that's about the mafia. Yeah. Being Italian, the mafia is something that it's always there. People are always talking about it or the legends about it. And, this is about some enforcers, my favorite subject, who want to get out of the game and how they do it. It's pretty bombastic and what they try and do and what they struggle with. And, it's got a lot of action, a lot of all the good stuff. And it was a lot of fun to write. And I'm just glad it's out there for everybody to enjoy.
I'm really looking forward to reading them because as much as I have a big, long list of books that I'm reading now with everybody sending me, which is so overwhelming and exciting, my favorite stories to read are horrors and thrillers and that kind of thing. So I'm really looking forward to reading yours because they fit right in that genre that I would normally pick up. Although it is fun to get books that I wouldn't normally pick up because I am enjoying them. But yeah, it is nice to get back to what I really like.
We all have our personal favorites.
Exactly. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to those. All right, let's switch gears and get to the heavy topic here, mental health. That's why everybody is watching. So what mental health have you struggled with?
I guess I've just got to stick with the classics, anxiety and depression, growing up, was exposed to some alcoholism and whatnot. And just going from there, it's one of those things where you don't realize how it affects you until you're able to look back and think about it. And it's something, I've struggled with, most of my life. But thankfully, I've been able to, work through it and get beyond it and manage it. And hopefully I can share some of those tips today with people.
Definitely. Yeah. That's what we're all about here, sharing those tips. Absolutely. So now that you can look back, how do you notice that it's affected you?
I think it's when you're experiencing something that someone isn't experiencing. You know what I mean? It's when you're, even though you might be going through the same thing with somebody, it might affect you differently, or it's
Yes.
hanging on, or you're hung up on something that they're not, you know?
Mhm.
And that's when I realized, like, wait a minute, this isn't normal. Because I
Yeah.
talk to people because I like to communicate, I've been in sales my entire career, sort of
Yeah.
thing.
Yes,
Um,
you're a talker.
yeah, that's the one thing I am good at. But besides my writing.
Yes.
But yeah, when you're with someone and you're going through something that they're not, that's a huge indicator. And I like to bounce ideas off of people. And I just realized, like, well, what this isn't normal, and it's not bad, but I'm having a problem where someone isn't, and I need to work on that. And
Mhm.
that's probably one of the biggest indicators I can think of.
Yeah, that's a really good one. That's kind of similar to myself. I noticed that I would tell people whatever was going on in life or whatever, thinking this is just my life, right? This is what I know. And when you are raised in that environment or you live that environment, that's what you know. So that's what you think is normal. Then when, like you said, you start talking to those other people and you're realizing it's not so normal. Okay, so what do I need to do? Why is this happening? Why am I thinking this way? And then kind of work on those things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
So when was it that you noticed or you realized that what you were experiencing wasn't normal?
I mean, right out of high school and probably around my college years, sort of thing. It's when you're in high school, everything's crazy. Everybody's sort of crazy.
Ugh, hormones.
Yeah, hormones are going crazy and all sorts of wild stuff's happening regardless. But it was out when I was in the real world, and I just spent time with myself. You know what I mean? And I was with friends, and I had odd jobs and whatnot. But it was when I just had time to sit down and reflect, like, well, wait a minute, um, what I went through as a child affected me.
Mhm.
What is going on? Where am I going? And some of it was, situational too, when you start thinking about how to progress in your life, but you have this anchor of mental illness sort of dragging you down.
Yeah.
That's when it sort of came together for me, where I really understood, like, again, this is a problem. This is starting to affect my life, and I need to work
Mhm.
around this.
So that's kind of like me. I realized that as a teenager, my mom, she ended up marrying somebody who was an alcoholic. And
Mm,
now I realize when people started yelling or raising their voice, it brought me back to that scared little girl
yeah.
who had no control over her life, who couldn't, I couldn't leave. I didn't know what to do. And I would just go and I'd hide in my room because there would be yelling and screaming because whenever he got drunk, that's what happened. So as an adult, I've worked through some of that. I'm not a big fan of yelling, but I mean, I just don't like yelling maybe. But early on in, my young adult years, I was very much like, oh, somebody's yelling. What do I do? What do I do? And then I started realizing why that trigger was happening. And I started going, I'm not going to talk to you if you're going to yell at me. And I would just walk away from the situation.
No, I agree 100%. And that was actually very similar to some experiences I've gone through, where, I didn't, you don't know what PTSD is until you look at a definition. But there was times in my life at my jobs, and I never hurt anybody or anything, but in situations where in sales, you're experiencing different personalities, like very
Yeah.
strong personalities. Sometimes insults start flying. It's very jocular atmosphere.
Yeah.
But there was times where I was shook by it. I was shaken by it, and I didn't.
Yeah.
And like I think you may have had a similar experience. I felt a bit trapped by the
Yes.
situation, and I didn't realize that was my trauma coming out and affecting me in a way
Yes.
that was maybe necessary, but that again, that's where that split comes in, where who you're dealing with, maybe they are being a bit of a nasty person, but they don't understand. They're in a different space than you are, so they don't realize what's happening to you. You know,
Exactly.
so yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah. So how did you work through some of that stuff?
So how I worked through it, I basically educated myself. I read a lot of books. Psychology is something that's always interested me.
Yes.
And, learning about sociopathy, psychopathy, narcissism, and just there's some actually great newsletters out there For instance, Eric Barker, if you want a little bit of small doses of self-help, I know that's a funny word or funny phrase to use, but he just has this great newsletter that talks about the secrets of happiness or how to deal with stress. Like some of it's from actual Navy SEALs, right?
Oh, wow.
Who get, they get advice, the training, of course, but how to deal with pain, how to deal with your own emotions, right? One of the ways is to start counting to 10. I know it's what they do with kids, but when you're going through an emotion, it's a physical response. But if you can get your frontal cortex going and get your mind going, you can actually suppress the emotion and just move forward. So it's, I'm giving you the very truncated version of that.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, but Eric Barker is great. And just reading books, there's another one called The Wisdom of Psychopaths. I read that, and it's all about how, when you say the word psychopath, it turns into a negative thing. Like, oh, you're thinking about people who chop up bodies.
Yeah.
Which is always fun to talk about. But
I love true crime.
Yeah, exactly. But there's also the fact that, a psychopath, the difference between a sociopath and a psychopath, both lack empathy, but psychopaths literally have a separation in their brain from the part of the brain that processes emotions and guilt. I'm sorry, the part of the brain that processes emotions and empathy, and the part of the brain that processes fear and guilt, because those things are physical, whereas the emotions and empathy are processed up here, right, in your frontal cortex. And there's strategies you can use to adopt that, like meditation, just
that is a running theme in most of my interviews. Everybody mentions meditation, so clearly that must be a good thing.
Yeah, well, I use it. I don't do a lot of meditation, but just in terms of understanding what fear is, how it's processed in the brain, and again, because like you experience what I experience, just because we feel a certain way doesn't mean it's real,
Yes,
and
exactly.
Yeah, and to be able to take yourself out of that bad space and just understand, look, this is happening. I'm safe. I have control. I can take myself out of the situation, or you can defend yourself in various ways. It's just very important to educate yourself, understand the problem, and then you're allowed to move forward.
Yeah, wow, that was a whole lot of important information. Wow. I do have to note, though, of course, neither Derek nor myself are doctors.
Yeah.
This is all from personal experience.
Yes.
Just in case somebody wants to, comment things. But it's still great information to have, right? All right. So what other things have you noticed really help you in dealing with your depression and anxiety?
Friends and family. I have some friends that, I don't know, birds of a feather flock together.
I haven't heard that in so long. Yeah.
No, but I've had some really good friends in my life where, and it's sometimes you're so scared to be honest, even with people you love, because you don't want to taint that, you don't want to turn that into something bad. But I've just been so fortunate and blessed to have people in my life who've just listened. They've listened to my stories, they've listened to me talk about what I've gone through, and they just roll with it. They just accept it, and they tell you it's okay. Or just the act of listening and not recoiling or anything like that. It does wonders for myself. Like I felt like I was in a therapy session just talking to my friends. And I would just encourage anybody to do that. You never know how someone's going to react until you try, but most of the time, we forget we're all social creatures, right? And we all instinctively do want to help each other. But when you're in that depressed space, when you're in that PTSD space, you're scared, or you feel like you want to run away. But doing the exact opposite can just do wonders for you and open up a lot of positive pathways.
Yes, I totally agree. And that's really lucky that you had friends and family that were so open to listening, because not everybody is. And perhaps then they're not really people you want to be around.
Yeah, well, everybody's different. And I want to, like I said, I'm sort of careful because sometimes you want to feel it out. And some of those people I knew or opened up to me about their experiences.
Yes.
So it's okay to be selective. You don't need to tell everybody everything. But
unless you're on the show, then you're telling everybody.
No, I'm telling the world. So.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah. but it's all about moving forward, and it's okay to roll the dice, you know. Um,
You have to
yeah,
do what's best for you, right? And moving forward with that.
exactly.
Yeah. I know
Yeah.
sometimes a lot of people get in that fix it mindset where, okay, you're telling me your problems. Okay, this is what we're going to do to fix it. But like you said, just that act of them listening is all that you need. Sometimes you just need to vent. You just need to get it out and have someone listen. My favorite is when my friends will listen and then go, that sucks. I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you for understanding. I don't need you to fix it.
All you
I don't
need.
need you to tell me that things will get better. I just want you to agree with me that that sucks.
Yeah, yeah, and if you want to help someone else too, you know, we all need help, but if you do want to help, like I don't know, I've got this knack for getting people to talk,
Yeah.
but the secret is just listening. Just ask a question, don't interrupt, let them finish, and then maybe just ask another question, and you can, you know, pull the information out of them, or I mean, you know, they'll let you know what the problem is, and then you can help them with it. But I think the fix it mentality, I've been in situations where people have tried to fix it for me, and it's like, that's not really what I need. But
No, exactly.
yeah, it's great that you point that out.
Yeah. Just being a great listener makes you a really great friend.
100%.
That is key. And what would you tell somebody who's listening right now, as a friend? Say you're talking to the friend of the person going through something. What would you tell them?
You know, there's a wonderful story. When I was a teenager in high school, I actually said this to someone offhand, and later they told me it meant a lot to them.
Okay.
And what I like to say is, someone out there loves you. Do it for them. And it's, you know, I said it and I didn't really think about how powerful that was. I was just trying to cheer someone up. But in retrospect, it's just such a great way to think about it. You know what I mean?
Is.
But of course, it doesn't need to be amorous love. Like someone out there cares for you. Someone out there cares. Someone out there wants to help. You know, just do it for them. Keep going. Yeah. And because that's, to me, when it comes to fighting depression and anxiety, for me, it's just moving forward. If you're able to move forward, if you're able to get that inertia going, even if it's just a walk outside, reading a book, watching well, not watching TV, you know.
Well, it depends what you like.
Sometimes watching TV too, it'll help. But just keep moving if you don't want to do it for yourself, do it for someone else. Because there's plenty of people out there.
Just do the next right thing.
That's right. Left foot, right foot.
Right. So my grandson is obsessed with Frozen 2.
Wow.
And so do the next right thing is from Frozen 2, but it's a good point. It's a good lesson. If you don't know what else to do and you just need to move forward, just one next thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Wonderful. And now what would you tell somebody who's listening who is in a state of depression or anxiety or whatever?
You know, just again, keep moving, read something, you know, get social. I know that's hard to do with COVID and everything, but we're sort of on the tail end of it. I think things are going to change a lot in the next 6 months, but just keep fighting. I don't care what it is. Hit a punching bag, you know, swing a bat around.
Hold on. When you said hit a punching bag, did you know I'm a kickboxer?
Oh yeah. There you go.
So I so agree with that. Hit a punching bag. Yes.
Yeah. Now, funny story. Around Christmas, my significant other actually got me a punching bag thing. It's like the red, I guess it's a little punching thing on a rod. But anyway, you put water at the bottom, so it just keeps coming back at you. And I had so much fun with that thing. And that is a great way. Like if you're feeling depressed, why don't you just get angry and start hitting stuff?
That's right.
Because fear and anger are really tied to each other in ways we don't even understand. And just letting it out, it's a key to happiness. Yeah,
I love that. And what we always say so I'm also a coach, and when we're in the gym, and it happens more in the kids class, and they're so quiet. They'll hit the bag and they're being so quiet. So we'll say, are we in the library or are we in Muay Thai class? Be loud. And that helps get those emotions out. Like you're saying, it's not just the act of hitting, but yell. Just let it out. Who cares if you're being loud? Do it, because you'll feel better afterwards.
No, 100%. And exercise, you know, like being in the gym, You know, and I know it's sort of cliche, but just get in there, get big, get
Yeah.
angry, move some metal. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Run, just do it, just let it out. And gosh, there's nothing better than, I'm sure you understand, your kickboxer after
Oh yeah.
training or a good fight or just in the
Yes.
gym, you get those endorphins, the blood's going, and that's what it's all about. You know,
Oh yeah.
that's the joy of life. You know,
Yeah,
getting the blood moving.
definitely. So here's a question that you didn't know I was going to ask you. How do you feel when you're in a depressed state?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. Um, I mean, I just feel like I can't move. You know, I just feel like, you know, I'm a big guy, but I feel like my body weighs 1,000 pounds. You know what I mean? And I'll know I'm wasting time doing something silly, but I don't care. And I just don't feel that motivation to write or go outside or excuse me, or talk to somebody. And yeah, it's just the sinking feeling. Never mind the whole, you know, just call it what it is, self-hate
Yep.
aspect of it. You know, because when I think about depression and how I've heard it described, it's just your brain gets into a negative cycle,
Yeah.
right? And I say it's like AIDS for your mind, in that, you know, AIDS destroys your self-defense mechanism, your immune system for your body. And I think we have an immune system in our mind as well, but depression like degrades that. And it's
Oh,
just,
that's an interesting way to put it.
yeah, yeah. And you know, it's just like I feel my mind attacking itself, like, oh, why didn't I do this? Well, then I could have done, well, I would have screwed up anyway if I tried. And that's just that negative cycle that you need to break so you can rise up again and move on. But that's the way I put it. I just, you know, I just feel draggy and upset, maybe angry, sad, you know, of course. Sorry, clear my throat here. But yeah, I guess that's the only way I can, well, I could say some other stuff, but we only have so much time.
Okay, that means that maybe you have to come back on and talk about it some more. Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I feel like there is a progression of it as well, at least for me, right? Because I'll start with like what you were talking about. Sometimes I'll get a little sad or angry, and the voices in my head start of, oh, you're awful, nobody likes you, why did you do this? And just and then for me, it goes to a point, I go down, 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 that it goes to a point where I'm just flat. There is no more emotions. There is no more anything. I'm here on this earth for no reason but to just be a big blob sitting here. Right.
Yeah.
And it's just no emotions, no happy, no sad, no nothing.
Yeah.
For me, anyways, that's my kind of progression. And when I get to that end part of the progression where it is the flatness, the lack of emotion, that's the worst part for me.
Yeah. No, I think that's accurate. You know, it's like you're just floating through time and space, but there's nothing there, you know?
Yes, exactly. Now, have you ever had to wrestle with thoughts of suicide?
Yes. Yes. Now I will say I haven't come close to it for reasons. Like I've never actually picked up a knife. I haven't stepped up to well, I'm scared of heights, so I'm not trying to find any tall buildings. I like to go to the top, but not that way. But yeah, I mean, you know, if I was in a tough spot or, you know, a cascade of problems, I'm sure we can all relate to that. I've just thought, wouldn't it be great to find that building and just, you know, let it go, sort of thing. But you know, what keeps me away from that stuff is my family, you know, thinking about the future, you know, thinking about, you know, what great piece of art am I going to miss out on, you know, because that's the thing. Like we always look at when you think of life as a challenge and you just don't want to fight that challenge anymore.
Yes.
And there's so many, you know, wars, little metaphorical wars we're fighting, whether it's with our colleagues, families, trying to get a new job or not having a job or you know,
Yeah.
not getting something that you need healthcare wise or whatever, have to deal with that in this country. But anyway, the short answer is yes. Yes, I've thought about it, but
I'm glad to hear that you have that something that pulls you back from those ideas.
Yeah, yeah. And again, that's where that you finding your motivation and finding that yearning for that next step, fighting for
Mhm.
the sake of fighting, you know,
Yeah.
it's super important in terms of pushing through.
Yeah. And it's a matter of just finding one small thing to bring you back, right?
Yeah,
Where, I mean, if some people don't have family, which is, unfortunate, but maybe they have a pet and they need to be there for their dog to go walking, and your dog is waiting for you at home, and you don't want to let them down, right?
yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same kind of concept of finding that one thing to pull you back in, to give you some type of purpose.
Absolutely. And I mean, we always forget, again, like someone out there loves you, do it for them, but there's always someone needs help. Why don't you go help them? Why don't you go volunteer? Why don't you get a dog? Because
I
dogs,
love animals.
yeah, dogs and pets are wonderful. Get a bird that can just fill your house with music, whether you like it or not.
Yeah,
But
my kid keeps asking for a bird.
I know.
We have cats and dogs. We're good.
Yeah, no, my daughter's got a hamster and I just love it because it's so low maintenance, but it's not loud, it's super cute, but anyway, I digress. But no, but there's healthy problems to have,
Yeah,
and again, a pet is a healthy problem,
yeah,
and you can have as many as you want. Just make sure
that's
you're
right.
feeding them and cleaning up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I was always a cat person, and now we have four.
Oh, nice.
I know I love my babies. um, but we also have two dogs now, and they have to be walked in the morning and in the evening, because the one will not go to the bathroom in the backyard. You have to take them for a walk. And some days it's frustrating because I'm like, oh, I don't want to take you right now. I don't have the energy. I don't have the will to get up and move, especially when I'm in those flat states like I talked about. But
Yeah.
having the dog jumping around, breathing in my face, all that lovely dog breath, because that's what he does. He comes right up in your face, makes me go, okay, fine, I'll get up. But then once I get outside and the fresh air, even in the winter when there's snow on the ground, I hate snow. It still makes me feel better. Even when the sun is behind clouds, it still makes me feel better. So having that thing where I know I have to get up and I have to go outside, it gives me a little boost, which might just be enough to jumpstart me, which is, yeah, important. So finding that's something for you.
No, absolutely. And again, I love walks. I love, like, if I know I have like an hour or two and I've got my writing taken care of and whatnot. I love going outside.
Yeah.
Or go to a park, watch some kids play around and laugh and just enjoy the sunshine and life and listen to the birds chirp. You know
Yep.
what I mean? Go out and smell the roses. Life is a gift. And
Exactly.
and being sure that you appreciate, we're so conditioned in certain ways to just focus on our job and think that that's
Yeah.
progress, right? Like how much money you have in your bank account is progress. But I've been fortunately in positions where, I've made a lot of money for short periods of time, right? Just a good
Mhm.
sales month sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I realized, like, oh wow, my bank account got bigger, but I'm still me. I'm still,
Exactly.
I haven't changed. Just there's
Yeah.
a couple more zeros somewhere, and I still need to work on myself. I still need to focus on getting better. But if
Mhm.
the real secret to happiness is falling in love with that challenge, and whether it's walking outside, exercising, all these things we're discussing, creating something, even if
Mhm.
no one's going to read it, just the act of doing it and being alive is a precious gift, and
Exactly.
it's meant to be enjoyed.
Yes. Good point. All right, so we're coming to the end of our time, unfortunately, because I feel like we could keep on going. Um, so where can people find your books?
My books are on Amazon. They're available, I believe, on the Kindle. And so you can just type in Derek Scarzella.
And you spell your name?
Oh, yeah. So Derek, the right way to spell Derek, and then Scarzella, Scarzella. I'm the only one on Amazon. I've checked. And it's The Vicious Game and Knuckle Crack Bone. And you can always find me on my website, actionagogo.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at actionagogo and Instagram at actionagogo. And that's just, you can find all sorts of awesome there. I could go on, but that's a great way to find me and reach out if you ever want to chat.
Excellent. And I will put those links in the description below. So be sure to click them, give Derek a follow, show your support. And any final words or thoughts that you wanted to share?
Again, someone out there loves you, do it for them. Have fun, rock and roll. Let's get to it.
Awesome. Wonderful. All right. Thank you so much, Derek, for being on the show and taking time to share with us.
Oh, thank you, Randi-lee. This was a wonderful experience. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. I hope you all enjoyed that interview with Derek. It was very enlightening. I had a ton of fun talking to him, and we just kept on talking after I stopped the recording. So probably have to get him back on the show. Make sure that you check out his links down below in the description, show your support, hit that like and subscribe button to show your support for the Ride or Die show. And of course, remember that the only way to end the stigma with mental health is to speak openly and honestly.